prefer piles of chocolate or piles of leaves?
Piles of chocolate.
Oh, yeah, that's a silly question.
Absolutely piles of chocolate.
What would you do with a pile of leaves?
Jump in it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Christina, and I'm with
Dennis.
And this is Things Your Friends Don't Talk About podcast.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
What is on your mind?
Oh, what's on my mind? On my mind today, so I'm going to start a little personal project. I guess what's on my mind is memories and like familial gatherings or whatever like that. So I was looking, me and my family found this old photo album book, and it was really nice going through the pictures and just seeing how times progress, the good old stuff. And I thought, wow, people don't do that anymore, because we have everything on digital. Yeah. We can look through it, but I felt like to me, it was much more precious looking back through these photos that are printed out because there's so few of them, obviously. Right. And also they're so far apart because most of the time people don't have enough pictures to chronicle every single day of their life, you know? So it was interesting seeing like time skips, like from 1 year to 5 years to 10 years, and I thought I've missed out on, I guess, finding, I haven't really missed out, but I kind of regret not asking my grandparents when they were still here because they've passed away, about like what life was like back then, about their childhoods. Because if we had really little pictures of like my parents' time, I had no pictures of my grandparents' time. And so I really missed out, I guess, on the opportunity to find out what it was like because I had no pictures. I can't ever know anymore, and I should have asked them, and I regret not asking them. So I was like thinking when I was looking through those photo albums with my parents, how much history there is and how much history, even how much they've forgotten, because only looking back at those pictures, they remember suddenly all these memories, all these places, all these people, and they extrapolated on and on and on until forever, And I thought that was such a cool concept. Let me see if I can still maintain some kind of story or memory, lineage, heritage, or whatever with my family. So I want to make like a little documentary kind of thing. So,
I love that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just going to take them and put them maybe 1 by 1 or 2 by 2 or something like that. Like my parents or something together, like in the living room, like in a nice little seat or something, and just point a camera at them. Maybe like have a couple mics on them and just ask them, what do you remember? What was like your first memory growing up, And they grew up in Ecuador, and even though they both come from Ecuador, they come from different parts. So my mom, they both came from like farm rural areas, but my mom grew up like in the mountains, and my dad grew up like closer to the sea, I think. So I don't know, I would just really literally be like, what do you remember? What is your first memory?
Are there any pictures that exist
of their childhood?
Yeah.
I don't think so. They didn't have cameras growing up. I think maybe, no, I'm wrong. They had maybe like, I literally think it's like 5 between the two of them.
Wow.
Like 5 photos. Because it wasn't a thing. And my mom's family definitely didn't have money to purchase a camera. She took lots of photos when she came to the United States. So there's lots of photos starting from there. But before that, nothing. Nothing. And I can't even like imagine what it would have looked like or been like, because going back to Ecuador now, it's completely different. It's totally modernized and much more than you would think. Like it used to be very, I guess, third world-y, but not anymore. Like it's very different now. It's very, very different. So I can't even go back and be like, hey, this is what they must have gone through.
So what would you show? So while they're telling their stories and they're like speaking of their experiences.
Oh, because it's a personal kind of project. Like I don't think I'm ever going to like show it. I might maybe show it one day. I think if if anything, just to have it out there and just be out there in the world so everybody could see, or at least my family, like my extended family could see. But I think I would just let them talk. You know, if I have pictures and they connect to those memories, and maybe I'll pull them up and stuff and show that. But I think I would want it to be maybe like a 10-minute like sequence, or just a snippet, like a 10-minute snippet of just them talking, you know?
It'd be really cool if you can make a connection to their lives and their stories and kind of like transition to now.
Yeah.
So you can see cool. like what that connection is between you and your family. So even though completely different time frame,
right?
And you're kind of like trying to go back in time, but their story and your stories will always
connect.
And exist. You know? Yeah.
So you're thinking like in comparison to my personal life?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think about how we're similar to our family members.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of family that I don't personally know. But I wonder, like, if I put all of them in a room, what kind of similarities would there be, if any? I mean, maybe not, but that's still a part of who we are. And, you know, you have your dad, then your dad had his dad, then his dad. I mean, there's just like, you know, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
So how even do those family members connect and make us who we are today? That
would be really good.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I regret not asking my grandparents.
Yeah.
Actually, both on my father's side and my mother's side, both of my grandparents, all four of my grandparents, I should say, are gone. So I have like no.
But when you were a kid, were they around?
Oh, they were around.
Okay, okay.
But I'm saying like now it's too late, you know?
And as we get older, that's when we get like more curious.
Yeah, exactly. I had no idea how curious I would be. And now it fascinates me. How do people grow up and stuff? And I've heard like little tales from my parents here and there. And every time I want to like ask more, but at the same time, I also, I don't know, I feel like I want to just capture them, just keep them forever. And so I thought, why not just put it in a video? Why not just do that while I still have a chance?
It would be really nice to kind of see the different emotions too. So if they're telling a story while they're like laughing, or,
right? Yeah.
I don't want them to be sad, but is there a moment that they're like tearing up or something?
Oh, I'm sure my mom would cry. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of emotions there, and a lot of stories, and
there is a lot.
Yeah, it just brings you back in time. So that's really cool.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. And then perhaps one day we could extrapolate it, or I could extrapolate it to me and like my brothers, my cousins, you know, the people that I grew up around with, like just retelling our memories, and seeing where we go, you know, like what do we remember? I think what fascinates me most is what exactly do people remember specifically? Because I know I have a horrible memory, so I don't remember anything, but people around me remember things for me. And just them telling me like, hey, remember when we did this or whatever, that just sparks so many things in my head, and it just it domino effects, you know. And so I love that part of what exactly do people remember from that time, because everybody's different. Everyone's going to remember different things, different specific things, and I want to know what it is, you know. That's
kind of interesting too. Like if you have, let's say, your family that they all talk about one moment that happened.
Yeah.
Like what are the different pieces there?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I can do it. I want to start, like, it's been on my mind for a few months now. I don't even remember. No, yeah, it was because we were looking through the photo album, and I was like, let me just try and do this.
Yeah.
And it seems very, I wouldn't say simple, but it seems doable, you know, like I would definitely want to keep doing it. And it just fascinates me more and more the more I think about it, and maybe just start it like soon. And because the holidays are coming around, maybe I can get some other family members to come in, you know, like as they're visiting, hey, just sit down for like 10 minutes and just talk to me, you know?
I always think like it'd be cool if, let's say, so your dad, as an example, like if he wrote a letter to like the future, so that whenever you have kids and they have kids and they have kids, and it's something that can just be like carried on, you know,
nice,
so they do have that piece.
Yeah.
I was also kind of curious. I don't remember, same thing, like where the curiosity came from, but I found a picture of my, so obviously me, my mom, her mom, her mom, her mom. great somebody.
Yeah.
And I asked my mom, I'm like, is there any way, I mean, is there any piece of, even beyond that, like her mom? And she's like, honestly, I think that's all that we have. And I'm like, no, like there's no way. There has to be these members. Like, I know that they have belongings. They have like,
they had, but
where did it go? Like,
who knows?
That's just so crazy.
That's like what I always say to you. Like, everyone who's not like world famous or whatever, or like changed the world permanently, we only have like 3 generations to our name.
Stop, I know.
Like after that, time forgets us. It just happens to everyone.
No way.
Yeah, it's so amazing that you have that much history, because I think after my grandparents, we have nothing but memories, nothing but names. And that's because of my parents, and that's only because of their parents telling them.
Wow.
I don't think we have like any like possessions or like like those movie like moments where like a father passes down like a watch or something, right? Nothing. We don't have that. It's not something that we considered probably essential, but I don't know. If we did have it, I don't know if it would mean a lot to me either. Like I would be like, okay, that's cool, But I wouldn't like cherish it. I wouldn't like, wear it every day. I just think it's cool.
But I think it's about understanding more of who you are.
Right.
So you have like your immediate family, but that's why I was saying even beyond that, like, yeah. I mean, I'm sure like where we come, I mean, it has to make a huge difference of like where we come from. Like we have our day-to-day reality and like I said, our immediate family, but there's more to the story. Yeah. There's more that made us like who we are, and we wouldn't be here without those people. Even like I said, if you go down the line, my mom's mom, just like keep going down and down. And I always think about like, who was the first person that started this? Yeah. I'm like, who were you and what were you like? And again, were there any similarities? Yeah. Yeah, it's
Did you find any similarities with like your family line or anything?
Like physically?
Or anything like
I mean, I don't know anything about anyone.
Oh, really?
I mean, I'm kind of like so my mom's from Russia and I know my grandparents, but I don't know anyone beyond that. So like cousins, aunts, uncles. But that's why I was saying I wonder if for some reason we all just were in a room, like, would we notice anything about each other? Like, oh, well, like, I'm like that too. Or, oh, wait, you and I kind of look alike, Yeah. It's like bizarre.
And you don't have many family gatherings or anything?
No. I mean, they're all in Russia.
Oh, they're all in Russia. Wow.
Yeah. And I heard that like the family isn't even close from what my mom says. So
it happens. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't even think she knows like what anyone's up to. But again, I mean, you can't dismiss the fact that you do have like biological family that exists. Yeah. And again, like, what does that mean? Yeah. My great grandma, I saw a picture of her when she was younger, looks identical to my mom. That's great. Scary. I'm like, wow. Like, oh my God. I was like, Mom, do you not see it?
Great grandma.
Yeah.
So
her grandma. My mom's grandma.
Yeah. Wow.
Identical.
That's back. Wow.
Yeah. But then, so who is it? Would it be my great grandma? I saw a picture of her. I don't see any physical similarities there, which maybe could have just been the picture. Who knows? I mean, that's such an old picture.
Yeah. Oh, that was like turn of the century.
Yeah. I mean, very, very old picture.
That's really cool. You have those. Yeah. Do you have those pictures? Or you
on my phone? I actually want to print it out and like have it.
Yeah. Do that. That's awesome. That's definitely the biggest advantage of phones. You can take anything and just print it out either way.
Yeah. Make collages.
You can do whatever anything you want. Yeah. That's awesome.
But I think really it's cool that you're starting this idea that you have like the documentary, and plus like you do have your family around, and you have like your siblings and cousins, and so it would be cool to kind of like create something like you said that could continue in the future. Like you're starting that piece maybe that others will be curious about in the future. Yeah,
maybe, hopefully, maybe it could be like a passing down kind of thing. That'd be nice. That would be really nice. I love
that idea. I just
That'd
think
be
it's
really
so cool.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, like putting everyone in a room, it sparks something different. I remember when I first started hearing of like my parents' like childhood, when it wasn't from them, like when it started coming from other people in the family. When it started coming from like others, like aunts and uncles and stuff. It was only when we got together. Like then they would be like, "Oh, do you remember when we were kids and stuff like that?" And I'd be like, how have I not heard this before? And it's probably because my parents, one, don't remember, or are just too distracted by everyday life that it never comes up. It never comes up in regular conversation because we have so many things to worry about anyways, you know? So it's nice that other people can remember for us.
Do you look at pictures of yourself like when you were younger?
I used to a lot because we used to do a lot of photo albums, like a lot and stuff. And my dad was always very keen on like photography and stuff like that. He wasn't like great. He wasn't like a photographer, but he would always want to get like a picture, you know? And it wasn't just for like family gatherings. It was just like everyday life, you know, like this is what we did this day and whatever. And so, I used to look at a lot of old pictures all the time. But only recently, like I was telling you, did we start looking at even older photo albums. I didn't know my parents even had. Like, they've just stashed it away in the garage for a while. And then I was like, you know what? Are there any more? And they're like, oh yeah, of course you do. I just never asked. You know, if I hadn't asked, are there any more pictures?
We haven't seen them around. So why would you think to?
Right. And we haven't done that in a while either. Like, we haven't sat down and like looked at photos because we've had phones for the past 1.5 decades, you know?
True.
So there's not a necessity, I guess, but I feel like there is at the same time. It's really good to remember that we didn't always have this, you know? And back when we didn't have it, photos were just much more special, in my opinion, you know? And that's what people say. Do you have
videos? Like videotapes?
No, those I don't think so. Maybe my cousins do.
That would be cool.
I don't think my dad was very into like videos or anything because they were on camcorders.
Okay.
Those would be like the videos that we would have. And I think those would only be for very special occasions if like some random cousin or uncle or something like shot it. Right. But again, I think my dad in my immediate family is the only one who ever wanted to just take
like
pictures.
Capture.
Yeah. And he probably had the same idea I do. Like just capture whatever we could at this time, you know? And now, even though everyone can do it, I think like my immediate family only really does it. Like, I'm talking to uncles and stuff like that, like older generation. They only do it for like events.
Special
events. That's it. Maybe like a couple photos of us all together. That's it. Nobody takes out their phone and shoots a random Tuesday. Like, this is what we ate, you know? So
it's crazy. Like, I have pictures of I love pictures, first of all. I'll take all kinds of pictures. I have pictures from my sister when she was little. And I feel like I just took it yesterday. I'm like, oh my God, like that was, how old is she? That was like 10 years ago. And I feel like I just took that picture. I'm like, how? Like, who are you now? And, you know, so that's the weird part. Like, I think with physical pictures, we can tell a difference in time. But with phones,
it's
like,
a little
for
harder.
me, it's hard to actually be able to tell like how long ago that was. Pictures, man. It definitely brings up stuff. Like, I was going through pictures a few nights ago because my grandma gave me a bunch of pictures.
Nice.
And you know, it's weird for me when I look at pictures of myself. I'm like, I don't know who that is. Like, it's so weird. I'm like, man, I wish I could connect with like that little girl, but I don't know who she is. Like, it's such a weird
for sure
feeling.
Right.
You know?
I mean, it's also because you've never looked at yourself in a third person view. So
it's like, it's so bizarre. But I love looking at pictures of my family. My mom, I have a picture of her when she was like 17. And I didn't know her, but she's so pretty in that picture. And she was like at a lake. I'm like, oh, like I wish I knew what was going on in the moment.
Exactly.
It's a lot of stuff. It's pretty cool.
That's what I'm saying. I guess it's just crazy to me that we have so much technology now, but we still don't use it. It's still just there. It's crazy to me. So I want to use it. Like, I need to use it. I need to have this. Now that I have the opportunity, I should just take it. And just run with it. See what happens, you know? And like, again, it's a personal project. So whatever I capture, I'll always love, you know? Like, even if it's bad, even if it doesn't go well,
it wouldn't be bad though,
it wouldn't be bad, right?
Well, first of all, it's your like family and their stories, but what I mean is, like, you know how to communicate certain, like, also you know what you want to show, you know what you have, you know how to portray messages, right? You know, so it wouldn't be bad.
No, it wouldn't be bad. But like I'm saying, anything that I shoot, I will love anyways. Then that's
so cool.
Hopefully soon. I don't know. And maybe one day I'll present it. Maybe all you people will see it one day.
You could, because you were saying that the holidays are coming up. So I feel like you could even show just videos of like your family being together and people like laughing together and enjoying each other. And then that's what I'm saying, like making a connection to what exists now and then somehow making a connection to like other stories that they tell.
I see.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true. We used to have a lot more family like coming over and stuff for the holidays, but that was because everybody used to live around us. Like everyone started in New York, but after, you know, as the decades roll by, people get their own places and they move out and they have their own lives and stuff. So a lot of family members that we used to connect with are just too far away to come anymore, you know? So maybe that would be a good connection. Like, but I also don't mind that because now all the people that I grew up with, all my cousins and stuff, now they come over, you know, and it kind of just fills the gap. It's like a cycle, you know, so it would be good. It would be a good idea to see how the cycles connect.
Yeah.
You know,
because I mean, like I said, we have so many family.
Yeah.
And realistically, I mean, they are a part of us, you know, so even though there's literal distance there, that's still somehow a piece.
Yeah, it's still family.
You know? Yeah. That's so cool.
So yeah,
I like it. Yeah.
Hopefully soon. I will definitely let you know what happens. I think it'll be great.
Do you have like any letters? Do you know? Do they keep letters?
No, I don't think letters. I mean, if they do, it's probably some secret letter that they'll never share to anybody. I have never personally seen a letter. Photos, for sure. Lots of photos. Physical items too? Nothing. No, yeah, just photos.
I have like a memory box.
Nice.
I think a lot of people have memory boxes.
Yeah, I have like 4.
But I was thinking, I have like journals and diaries.
Wow.
I need to burn them.
Okay.
Because if for some reason, I hope I'm here for a long time.
Sure.
But if I pass, I don't want people reading my stuff.
Okay.
Like there's personal stuff in there. That's for me. And you know that people are going to be like, oh, like, let's remember Christina. And, you know,
let's
like,
read her diary.
Yeah. And then I'm like talking trash about like that person. So that's one thing I think about. I need to destroy the evidence.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
That's probably why, journals don't get passed by. Don't get passed on.
Yeah.
You know, I've never been a written word kind of person.
Ever?
Never, ever. I just can't. I'd rather get something through an image or through an image. Yeah. Whether it be photo or piece of art or something. Nothing wordy.
That's why I love film though, because I feel like there's just a way to express like emotions that you wouldn't be able to with words. Yeah. And we've talked about this, but that's why a lot of the work that I've done before, it's all silent. Yeah. Because I think like there's nothing that needs to be said. You know what I mean? Like you can just show through images and so
that's what the best filmmakers say too.
I understand that.
True.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of like writing in like the journal, like I hate you.
Yeah. You know? No, yeah. I just can't. Plus it feels like work. When I'm like writing something, even if it's like for a diary or like a daily journal or something, I feel like I have to force myself to put pen to paper and start writing about my day and stuff. It doesn't.
So you've never done it?
I've tried before having like a diary, a journal, everything, and it's just not for me. It's just I can't. Like I just can't express myself through words, and it just feels like work to me than like relief. You know,
you're very like articulate though.
Articulate?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like you express yourself like super well.
In what ways? Like in a word?
In words? Yeah. Oh. So I feel like if you wrote, you would be a very strong writer.
Oh, I think I am. Not to my own horn, but I think I am a strong writer, and I do enjoy the process of like writing, especially if it's like a creative fiction or like a sort of like personal work or whatever. Like scripts, right? Film scripts or whatever, or any kind of scripts. I love details and stuff. And I think it's because I grew up with books like that, like detailed visions of like another world or something, right? And so that's what sparked my imagination. And so when I go and write my own stuff, even though I don't really do it a lot, but when I do, I like to keep those in mind. Like I really like to be as vivid as possible. And I guess I like using really interesting words.
Yeah.
Like, what was the word we said earlier? Outlier.
Yes.
Outlier.
Such a good. I learned that in school.
There you go. You see, like, I don't know. It's fun to have like normal conversations with
and
these
just like throw
weird,
those words.
with these weird words.
Yeah.
It throws people off sometimes, and I think that's also really funny. But I think it's also, it just helps to spark my imagination.
What's your favorite word?
My favorite? I don't have a favorite word.
What's a word that you use a lot that a lot of people don't use?
Amalgamation. Amalgamation. I love using
amalgamation.
Yeah. It's like when you group something together, and I don't know if it's in a chaotic way or something. So we need to
amalgamate each other.
No, it's not. You can't use it as a verb. I think it's just a noun. Like, it's an amalgamation of art, for example. I don't know if it's a build-up. You know what? That's also a good thing. I should relearn some words that I use so I don't use them wrongly.
The museum was an amalgamation of art.
Yeah, there you go. You can use that. But make sure you understand what you're saying too.
I've never heard that word before.
Yeah, there
amalgamation.
You go. I don't know. I just like doing that. I think it's really fun.
You know how we were talking about school and what it means to be smart?
Sure.
For homework, we were talking about what's wrong with the education system.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I love that.
In an educational system.
Yeah. And someone else actually said that grading shouldn't exist.
Oh.
And I love that topic.
Okay.
Because so you pass your grades, right? Then you move on to the next grade. So because you're moving on to the next grade, it means that you're prepared, or you already have the knowledge that you need to move on to that grade. However, we all learn differently. So just because we pass a grade doesn't necessarily mean that we're ready for whatever is next. Right. So sometimes professors or teachers would be like, oh, you should know this already. You learned this in high school. But that's not the case. There's no one way of learning, no one way of memorizing. That's very traditional. And students, everyone has different learning styles. So for me, I need to see pictures. I don't like reading. Okay. I can't really I just see better with something just visually shown to me. I'm a very hands-on person also. But I think in school, we're not like encouraged to learn about who we are as learners, and that there's only one way of learning. So because of the grading system, you're taught to memorize. Right. And basically, if you don't have a good memory, or you're not registering the information, you can't pass. Yeah. So, but I don't think that's fair, because like I said, learning isn't linear. Right. Like, it's not nice, I guess, to be like disciplined or whatever just because we learn differently. So how else can we show that a person's capable of moving forward so they can get that, so they can graduate, they can get that degree? Because really that's what we're doing, is trying to get into the work field, which, some majors, they do require, I would imagine, lawyer or, like a doctor. Yeah. That makes sense to me. But let's say in your case for film, I'm going in for organizational psychology. A lot of the information, I don't know how much of it actually helps us. And then, like I said, we're being graded, and if we don't pass, then we can't continue. And then what happens to those that decide that school is too much for them, and they're being assessed in a way that it's just so traditional? Did you find a solution? So passionate about this topic. No, I think it should be a combination of grading and effort, because it's not about someone. If someone fails something, it's not about them, let's say, not being smart. It could be a range of things. People get test anxiety. Could be a bad day. It could just be there's just so many different factors there. So I don't really think that a test or a grade should determine that person's capability or qualification.
Well, isn't that why you have more than one test? Yeah. Right.
But I don't think that testing should just be the way. I don't think that school should incorporate more critical thinking, because there's more to it than just being tested. There's more to knowledge than just a multiple choice.
I think that's true, especially in a field I think that's why in a field like medicine, they have them go out into the field and apply these methods to practice, because I think that's the best way to learn, is by doing it in the real world instead of through textbook. And perhaps maybe there should be more things like that, maybe schools should think outside of the actual building and think in terms of a real world examples to teach students.
Yeah, but for example, like I was talking to my mom. I don't have my bachelor's yet. I'm getting it soon. And she was saying that she was interviewing for a position, and the person that she was interviewing for had a bachelor's, but her experience, she had no experience. She's like, honestly, I wish I could hire you because you have all the experience in the world, but you don't have that piece of paper. So that's why I feel like education like isn't everything. So you can't really deem like someone fit for a job just because of that paper, which I don't want to I don't want to negate the work that people like I've been in school it's taken me forever just to get a bachelor, so
for sure, I understand that too.
A lot of work there, but I think that it's a combination of both,
right? I think maybe that's the bigger outlier there, in my opinion. That's a
nice word.
Outlier. In my opinion, I feel like that's the biggest problem is after schooling, like what do companies pick up on from that schooling? And most of the time, like you said, it's just grades. It's just a piece of paper, They don't actually think about extracurricular activities, even though like people like guidance counselors and stuff will tell you should do extracurriculars, you should do other things because it'll expand your experience, like you said. But companies don't actually do that. Don't actually look at that.
But I think also with school is a matter of just passing, just taking the test, getting a good grade. So it's really not about like, I think it's just like for me, like I'm just trying to just get through just so I can graduate. But I'm not really like having the time to focus on what I'm meant to be learning. So that's, I think, another like, it's just so backwards that we just need to try to get through it. But we're not actually. I think that's the whole point, because it's so easy to pass. It's not easy to pass, but it's easy to like fake your way to a passing grade. I think then students just don't take the time because they could be doing something else. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just it's too structured of an environment. Like I was saying, like it's just go to class, sit down, take out books or whatever, and write down notes until the end of the class, and until you can pass the grade. There really should be a different way to approach that. Yeah, but I'm also thinking about like different subjects.
Okay.
So like math. I'm so bad at math.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking about it, like if you think about, because I use the word traditional, and so I think the way that we learn has changed a lot. So even before, people didn't have calculators. So that's a different way of learning. But now I think we're allowed to use calculators in like almost everything.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, so we just have different resources available to us that I think kind of changes what that means for us in terms of like knowledge, school, and I think it's also the fact that just being a bad teacher also really messes you up. What's your definition of a bad teacher?
It's just someone that isn't passionate about their subject and also doesn't know how to instruct in different ways, in a variety of methods, like you were saying. I think that's also a really big factor in it too, because a lot of it comes down to your teacher. I remember, like I was showing you, the editing, the color grading Da Vinci teacher I had. Amazing. And why? Because the way he taught me was exactly what I needed. Step-by-step video formats. Perfect.
But it's crazy because then you have the professors, like I was saying, if you ask a question or a teacher and they're like, oh, but you should know this. And it's like, okay, but you're not creating a safe place for people to learn. It's like, so backwards.
Yeah, exactly.
My goodness.
I don't know. Yeah. But there are some things, I think, like math, you can only learn in a traditional sense. If you want to like, let's say like improve on mathematics, I think the best way is to just get in there and just start doing pencil to paper mathematics.
I can't stand math. Oh my God.
Maybe you just haven't tried it in like a actual not forced way, but just gone all the way through it, So if you go back to like calculators and stuff, your brain is always going to be like, okay, I can learn it, but I don't have to, right?
I'm just thinking in high school, I took algebra. I filled the regions. That's what it was. So I had to take a Regents prep class.
Right.
And then I took the Regents again, and I think I got like a 65. So it was algebra, then geometry. And then when I got to college, you have to take that placement test. So I failed the placement test.
Wow.
Then I was supposed to take a class for the placement test, something like that.
Yeah. You took
never did
remedial class.
Yes.
Right.
Didn't go.
Right.
So then I took, I think, same thing, the college algebra. Somehow I was able to take it. And then I got a 65. I still don't think I was meant to pass because like the professor for that class, she heard me say like basically that was my last semester at the time. Imagine she failed me knowing that was my last semester. And I got a 65. It's like right there. So
that's crazy.
I don't know, but yeah.
Interesting. Well, it wasn't like basic math though that you had to know.
It was college algebra, so it's still like what I learned basically in high school. So I took algebra during the pandemic. That was one of the professors that was like, oh, you should know this, and I'm like, bro, no. So I dropped his class because I couldn't take it. If I don't know something, I don't know something. You telling me that I should know, it's not like that's just going to be a light bulb in my head like, oh great, thanks. So I dropped his class, and then I ended up taking math again, and thankfully she was great. She was a really like nice, understanding professor. Right. But I still wonder if she was just being nice. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like though, at a certain point with some subjects, if you really don't need to or want to learn, you're never gonna learn. You know?
Yeah.
There's just a certain point where you pass the threshold of not wanting to do something, and so you'll never do it. Because why would you?
Yeah.
It's not important. You know? You're never gonna be interested in it.
Yeah. So I just wonder for people, like, again, I don't like school. So like you were saying, even like teachers, professors, they make a huge difference. They really do. Like I remember in high school, I had a Spanish teacher. She didn't like me. I don't know why. And I was taking like it was the oral Regents.
Sure.
So I did my thing, and she was like, I think she said, you're not going to pass the Regents. And I'm like, thank you.
Okay.
So, and I got like an 85, but it's just funny. Like, again, that's not your role as a teacher or whoever. Right. It's to make people feel confident in themselves, you know? Cause I just feel like learning is just so like tricky. It can be emotional. Like I was crying, I remember in high school, like just trying to get certain subjects. And if people just don't learn the way that other people do, like it's okay. It's just about discovering like who you are as a learner and not feel bad about it, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Anyways, this was our education and memories episode of Things Your Friends Don't Talk About podcast. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.
Farewell, my friends.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.